Hello guys, I've got to go to work today, which is a drag. It's about 9:30 in the morning. I'm not feeling that great, so excuse me, a little bit of medication, nice cup of tea. First thought is, why is it never just I'll have a cup of tea? It's always I'll have a nice cup of tea. I don't know. Anyway, this video is on the back of a contact or several contacts I've had with I can't even say it. Mustache Boy. It's early in the morning. Actually, I think it says Mustache Boy. But you know who you are out there. Ask me a few questions about setting up speakers, amps, etc. But in particular, in relation to the gear he's already got. I've done a little diagram, so I'm going to take him through, and I hope it may be of interest to other people, how to daisy chain some speakers in a particular way, and we'll have some advice as we go along the way. So you won't have to look at this ugly mug with my balding head, and we'll go down onto the diagram. Right, we're down on the paper now. Now I hope this means something to some people. So moustache man guy, I hope this means something to you. Right, now, as it says, mixer. As I understand it, at the moment you have one amp, and you've given me the details, so we know that it will run at 2 and 4 ohms. And you have, I think you were saying you have 4 speakers, and you want to know how to daisy chain them. So, before we go any further, you obviously go from the mixer here to the amp inputs. Then on one channel, say we'll call this the left, you go input to the speaker. Now I don't know whether you've got speak on or jack plugs, but the principle is exactly the same. You will then go from the speaker. Now on mine it says input and output, but actually the truth of the matter is it doesn't make a lot of difference as long as you keep it balanced throughout the system. So we then go from there to there. Now these speakers are 8 ohms. So if by plugging 2 lots of speakers in like this, 2 8-ohm speakers, they're running at 4 ohms. And we know your amp, because you've shown me a picture of it, will run at 4 ohms. In fact, it will make it more efficient. So it should run better. So on this side, exactly the same. We'll call this the right-hand side. And that should be fine. You're saying they're matched up speakers. No problem whatsoever there. Now you were asking, how do I run 2 amps and another 4 speakers? Okay, well, it's basically the same again. So we open it up, we've got 2 amp 1, so we call that amp 2. And again, we're daisy chain here. And that's no problem. You've got basically 2 systems here. But how do you connect it to the mixer? Well, it's as simple as a lead or a junction box. Now what I would say is it does depend on what connections you've got from your mixer here. Now normally these would just go into amp 1 and then through one system, but being the 2, you need either a lead that goes from 2 plugs, and what you'll find is it'll go like this and then divide out 1 2 3 4 into 4 plugs, which is fine. Or you might be able to buy some sort of junction box here where you'll plug the 2 in, and then there'll be sockets and you can come out of it. Or look in the back of your mixer, because you may find you have a booth output as well, which you can use that as a secondary output. So you might have it here. But to make it nice and easy, let's say you've bought yourself a junction box. Now my advice is go to a music shop that sells musical instruments and that. Now they're so geared up because really what you want to do is more of a sound reinforcement system rather than a PA system. And what I mean for that, it's a very similar system to perhaps what a band would go for. And I'll show you what I would recommend, because I don't think you've gone and bought all this yet. So I'm going to actually throw a spanner in the works in a minute. But anyway, this is a junction box. So you've come from your mixer to here. You'll then come out of your junction box to here. And there you go. There's your setup. So we've got 8 ohm speakers. We've got amps that will run down to 4 ohms. So looking at the speakers you've got, they're very heavy duty. We're talking big venue sound system here. But if it is for discos, now I'm going to blow my nose because I told you I'm not very well. I haven't drawn another thing, but let's get another piece of paper and do this. And I hope it doesn't make it any more confusing. Let's make this a crossover. Now this will divide the frequency range of the signal going to your amps into either three-way, which is your high, your mids and your sub, or your lows for want of a better description. I'll move that. That wasn't very clever, was it? There we go. So we've now made this a crossover, and we're pumping out your highs through this. So you've got 4 speakers running at 4 ohms, just doing your highs and mids. Now you're not going to put these speakers under so much pressure. You're going to get quite a high volume of your high and your mids, and you'll be in total control because there will be a gain control on your crossover. You can go three-way, so what you would do with the three-way, you would have perhaps your highs on one channel, your mids on another channel, and then your subs or your lows on a third. But I've had it recommended to me that really best to go two-way crossover, and with this sort of setup with the speakers that you've already got, that probably would be the most sensible thing. Now instead of just going and buying 4 more big speakers like this, what we do, you have your amp again, so we've got amp 2, which we're now going to connect from the crossover, and this will be for your lows. So we go lows, up here, highs, mids. Now instead of going and buying 4 full range speakers again, buy yourself 2 subs, and I would say probably 18-inch subs of a decent quality. They're going to need to be 18-inch because these, I know that you told me, are 15s, aren't they? They've got 2 15s in or something similar to that. We've got 2 very high power, reasonably sized subs, decent make. You're going to go from this amp, left channel, right channel, end of story really. Now for a disco, a PA rather than a sound reinforcement system, I think that is a better system. Some of you may not agree, but you know, it's personal. It depends what you want, to be honest. If you're doing stadiums, probably your original idea actually may work out better, because that is what a band would probably go for. But they would probably insert another amp with some subs as well to reinforce the full range, because that's the other option, is you don't divide your mains here, your mids and your highs, you don't divide them up, you power like this, and then you also have some separate subs as well. So it's all down to how much money you want to spend, what you're trying to achieve, but I hope that's helped. I hope that makes sense, but at least you can keep playing this back and repeat it. Any questions, leave a message underneath here and hopefully I can help. Anyway, even I'm confused now. Practice and enjoy.